The story being watched around the country. The trial for the former Minneapolis police officer accused of murdering George Floyd. It is now underway. Floyd, a black man, died last May after prosecutors say Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for nearly 10 minutes. The video led to protests against police brutality here in the tri-state and literally around the world. Derek Chauvin faces 3 charges, including second-degree murder. And in their opening statements, prosecutors vowed to bring new evidence against him. News 4's Rana Novini monitoring the trial. She's in the newsroom. Rana.
And David, prosecutors played that graphic bystander video during their opening statements this morning, saying that Officer Chauvin held his knee on George Floyd for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That's a slightly different and longer timeline than previously reported. The defense, meantime, arguing that the evidence will show that Officer Chauvin did exactly what he had been trained to do.
We plan to prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Mr. Chauvin was anything other than innocent.
Prosecutors say Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin betrayed his badge when he held his knee on George Floyd's neck and back last May.
We're going to show you that putting knees on somebody's neck, Mr. Floyd's, putting a knee on his back for 9 minutes and 29 seconds was an eminently dangerous activity. And he did it without regard to what impact it had on Mr. Floyd's life.
Officer Chauvin on trial for charges including second-degree murder. Chauvin sitting next to his attorney, occasionally taking notes throughout the day. The death of George Floyd prompted a summer of protests across the country, calling for an end to systemic racism.
There is no political or social cause in this courtroom.
Chauvin's attorney today urging jurors to ignore the uprisings and saying the trial will hinge on George Floyd's cause of death.
There was no evidence that Mr. Floyd's airflow was restricted, and he did not determine to be a positional or mechanical asphyxia death.
The first witness to take the stand, Jenna Scurry, a 911 dispatcher who called police after witnessing Floyd's arrest on a live camera feed.
I had come from the back of the squad to the ground, and my instincts were telling me that something's wrong.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Before the trial, activists and members of the Floyd family addressed supporters, saying Chauvin is in the courtroom, but America is on trial.
They want us to trust the system. Well, this is your chance to show us that we can trust you.
And within the past 30 minutes, the prosecution called their second witness to the stand. She is a 23-year-old woman who witnessed the police encounter from across the street. The trial expected to last 2 to 4 weeks, and if Chauvin is convicted of second-degree murder, he could face up to 40 years in prison. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rana Novini, News 4 New York.
Rana, thank you for that overview.